The live stream started, recording the backup. All right, call. I do have my ringer on. I didn't have it on earlier. So, yeah, if you need to call me, it's on now.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today is February 28th, 2024. The time is 7:13 p.m. This is the public hearing for the budget, the Community Development and Budgetary Priorities Committee of Bronx Community Board 11. My name is Serena Muniz, and I am the chair of this committee. I am joined by my fellow co-chair and committee members who will introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Malcolm Gray. I'm the co-chair of this committee.
Ryan Barthel, member.
Bernadette Stacey Dillon, member of the committee.
Dwayne Williams, member.
And I heard Bernadette in the background. Yes, Bernadette?
Yes, Bernadette Ferrara, committee member and chair of CB11.
Thank you, everyone.
Brian M. Adams of Sergeant at Arms Community of 49th Precinct Community Council.
I do apologize for any background noise that you may hear. I will try to mute myself. But so we're going to start with the code of conduct statement, and then we're going to move forward with the testimonies and responses for the preliminary budget, the mayor's preliminary budget for fiscal year 25 that was recently released. And so the Community Board 11 meetings must be held in a professional and hostile-free environment. The following rules of conduct are applicable to members of the public, Community Board 11, and Community Board staff. Any action or behavior that disrupts or interferes with Community Board 11 business will not be tolerated during any Community Board 11 meeting. It may result in the individual or individuals being asked to leave. If the action or behavior continues, this may be considered disturbing the peace, and the appropriate authorities may be summoned. If the meeting is held remotely, the person may be muted or expelled for the remainder of the meeting. Repeated violations by the same person or group of people may result in further actions by the community board. All public speakers must address the full board or the committee with their concerns. Electioneering for a position other than an officer of Community Board 11 is prohibited. Engaging in acts of violence, including threats, are grounds for immediate suspension of the right to attend meetings pending review by the Ethics and Disciplinary Committee. Respect the equality, diversity of all persons by respecting and valuing differences of cultures and opinion. Refrain from unpleasant or disparaging remarks and other actions. Abstain from all forms of harassment by actively discouraging it, disseminating and refrain from disseminating false information. So thank you for allowing me to read our code of conduct. Tonight we did receive a request from a community board member, Ms. Diana Finch. And what I want to ask, if when at all possible, when referring to a particular item on the preliminary budget, if you can reference the code number and whether it's a capital and or expense request, and what your testimony will be, so that we can follow. Thank you very much. Ms. Finch, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I may have misunderstood, though. I thought this was a public hearing on the mayor's preliminary budget as a whole, not on our specific item requests. I haven't seen our specific item requests until right now, until you just put them on the screen.
So this is the preliminary budget was released. It's public information. It was released on January 16th of this year, I believe. It could be the 18th, but I believe it was January 16th. We typically put it up on our website, but it's something that's available for everyone to view prior to our public hearings. And so I know that Jeremy was working on putting it up, as was Malcolm as well. But yes,
So was it this that's on the screen now, or it was something else?
it is
Well-
this on the screen now.
I'm just very confused. Sorry.
So what was released was it was a big pack, as every year is done. The different community boards budget requests of capital and expense items are put in the packet. We narrow it down to the community, our district requests and items. Didn't make much sense for us to be discussing items in other districts other than
Okay.
our.
Yeah, I misunderstood. I thought we were supposed to be responding to the mayor's overall preliminary budget.
Well, this
Yeah.
is part of
And
that.
I never was able to find our specific, the responses on our specific requests.
Well, this is
So I-
what's here on screen right now. We're also going to put it on our website, but it has been available to the public since January. And we'll be happy to have you review it and email us any specific concerns that you would like to have answered so that you don't feel rushed. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm prepared to also talk about the mayor's overall budget.
Okay, so, and we're ready to hear from you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Uh,
1 second. I'm gonna time you, so I'm gonna give you 2
Yes.
minutes. Let me
Okay.
figure this out on my phone. So I don't miss-
You want me to do the
So-
time? Please.
1 second, Diana.
Okay.
2.
2 minutes, yeah.
When you're ready.
Thank you.
First and foremost, the most important for the communities along Bronx Park East and Pelham Parkway are budget demands for the Parks Department to restore positions lost to hiring freeze and attrition to pre-COVID levels. 1,000 workers are scheduled to lose their jobs at the end of June. 50 park rangers. We need 100 PEP officers to keep the parks safe. 100 parks workers who clean the parks are going to lose their jobs at the end of June. And we need to add 200 more in addition to those 100 to get back to pre-COVID levels. And we also need to save 50 forestry and green thumb staff and add 50 to get back to the pre-COVID levels. Then next is buildings over a certain size and age. We need subsidies for the owners to repair roofs and pointing, because so many top floor tenants now have leaks, and elevators are reaching the end of their useful life and breaking down consistently. And many landlords can't afford the repairs that are necessary. And finally, we have to budget the Department of Education sufficiently to comply with the law that was posted years ago to reduce class sizes so that our children get good, equitable educations. Oh. Okay,
30 seconds.
I'm done.
Done? Thank you. Any responses, questions?
Thank you, Diana. Diana, you were the only one to register tonight for the public hearing. I do see that there are people in the chat. There's some information in the chat that I'm reading as I'm going along. So who would like to share and their testimony and responses to the preliminary budget as it pertains to Community Board 11 next? Please indicate by raising your hand if you're virtual, or is there anyone there? I see we have anyone in person first?
No?
Malcolm?
No?
No? Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to those that are with us virtually. If you could raise your hand, we'd give you your allotted 2 minutes to share as well.
Oh, Robert Press?
Thank you. Tell me when to start,
When you're ready.
Whenever you're ready, yeah.
okay? First of all, I see my name is on item number 4 on the capital plan, which I have not asked for. That has always been to pave the roads inside of Jacoby's property, which I was always opposed to. There is a process for paving roads or requesting road pavement in the board area. The Transportation Committee is supposed to hand in a list of roads in the board area that needs to be milled and then repaved to the DOT. The DOT then determines which streets get done if it is over the mileage allotment. Each board is allowed X amount of miles, and that is why it asked for a listing of the roads to be milled and repaved from the Transportation Committee. The district manager should be aware of this. I sat at the budget hearings one year with the district managers when I was the budget chair of Community Board 8. And when it came to this item, Jeremy had the list from Community Board 11 that he read. However, other boards had given in their list to DOT directly. I also see a lot of mistakes on some of the items on the expense. Item number 10, for example, I see IT and the and sign number 39, apostrophe S. And normally organizations or the board itself suggests these
Seconds.
items for, the budget request. And as you see, you're getting the normal response from the agencies, which is coming in, no money, contact your local elected officials. As I said to our budget chair the first year, when I said good luck to you, that this is what you're going to hear, and you continue to hear it. That's about all. I don't want to waste any more time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Press.
Yeah, please remove my name from number 4 then.
Yes, Mr. Press, thank you.
I don't see any other hands on this side.
Okay. So I believe this was the quickest budgetary priorities committee public hearing that we've probably have ever had.
Wait, Diana.
I see you, Diana. I see you. I'll say that the Department of City Planning has had a lot of issues with the software and the program that they were using for this particular budgetary submission, and a new one has been instituted. Right now, there's a training period that all community boards will be going through because there were glitches with regards to submissions. This was something that if you go back and if you go back to any of our live public hearings and or committee meetings, has been around since I became chair, and and obviously became something that we have to deal with. There is a new program being instituted, and hopefully these glitches, such as any types of ampersands or apostrophes, or even however whatever could possibly happen, would be minimized. And so I just wanted to say that. So Diana,
Yeah,
you
sorry, I
actually
still don't understand where we look at this, where we find this, because I just went and looked on the site and I only see up to fiscal year 2025.
If you go to attached to the agenda, it's a link to the budgets.
Oh, it's attached to the agenda. Okay.
It is kind of convoluted.
Because also the agenda was not up on the agenda list. It was only in the calendar. when I
It's
looked
up.
this afternoon.
It's up. If you go, Serena has when I had
No, I
conversation.
just did it too.
Yeah, if you go to agenda, it'll say public hearing.
Okay. And
but
then
you are correct.
what does it mean when the agency said, please contact the agency promptly for more information or for a response?
What that means is that for that specific request, it requires more communication with the agency directly itself to figure out.
And who has to do that though?
The community board.
Yeah, pretty much.
CB,
This is, through the years, this has been, it's.
like
historically.
historically.
It's a
through-
regular response,
Yeah.
Historically,
which is.
And
No.
do you know where our,
So for example, with this response that we're looking at now, for request number 1, we know that for this specific project, we have to contact Parks. And we also know that this issue, it was more of the funding coming from the elected officials themselves, which they put towards this project. So depending on the project and the processes that it is, the process is all different. For example, I know Serena and I did put a request in for to turn the little plaza area to make a plaza area over in Bronxdale. They told us that we had to reach out to the specific agency that works on that. So it just all depends, honestly, which this stuff requires a much deeper training than what it looks like.
And just additionally, we will be following up as per the agency's response. And so it's a process, right? It's a continual process. And so as we break it down, the entire budget, and we get the responses and or we get the meetings, then, we will have some updates. But this is what, based on our requests, they've told us, and this is now is action time. So now we have to respond and we have to do the things that they've told us to do. And so, yeah, we'll do that, and hopefully have some good communication with all the different agencies and responses.
Right.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining. Okay, is there anyone with us? Oh, Malcolm, do you want to take a look really quickly at the chat to see if there's anything we might be able to answer, and or Kay, if you wanted to ask a question, we're here. Other than that,
Well, let's see. I know Diana had a question regarding, was our item requesting bigger, more secure trash containers for the park's address? I did skim that, and I know the response was that we had to reach out to specific elected officials for specialized trash bins. I see Pay Cardona made a comment about HUD filtering money to NYCHA, which I believe that a few, or was it just the Coops, received money recently from some agency. So that's something that we should probably look into. And then Robert Press spoke about the DLT, item number 4. And then I know Kate Cardona mentioned PS 105, which I did see that in here, but I don't remember exactly which item it was to point it out.
Excuse me, are we gonna be going through each one of the ones that are each one?
Each
No,
one? That's a lot.
Well,
No,
no, just for Community Board 11, just for the asks of Community Board 11 to see, just, there might not, to see what the agency response is.
Well, I do know, for example, what was the last page, Serena? It was like 231.
231,
So it's 200 to 231.
Yeah,
203 through 231.
yeah. I know that the ones that you submitted were responded to. So I can track it down somewhere.
Everything was responded to according to our asks, and right
Right.
now this is a public hearing to hear from the community. And so
Yeah.
this link is available, and I will reshare. I did share it. I will resend it so that Jeremy can share with the entire board. And then when we meet in March, or when we have our full board meeting, should any of our board members want to ask any questions, then I think that's the time to do it, because right now this is a public hearing to hear from the community.
Right. So like for example here, like our education, youth, culture, youth committee, they make us requests for more crossing guards
Mhm.
over at Bronxdale. The response was based on latest budget, the NYPD has a specific budget headcount. The agency's working on filling vacancies in order to get to the headcount.
So the agency is actually doing something based on our ask on
Right.
this one. Yeah, a lot of the other things that say that need to go to specific agencies, maybe we can bring those asks to the specific committees
Yeah,
for them to further give a push and delve into it besides,
yeah.
this committee.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Serena has, and I'm pretty sure she will continue to ask the chairs to continue to go through this and pick it out and have the meetings with the specific agencies to figure out how to get this stuff done. So
Because I mean, just over the years, I've sat with with this, and the agency responses usually say the agency will try to accommodate, go back to the agency. And a lot of times, maybe we can go back to the budget or the mayor's office and ask them to give a little bit more of how we can delve into it besides what we can figure out ourselves too.
Right. Very true. That's very true.
So.
Serena?
Do we lose
Yes.
you?
She's there.
Yes. I was just muted. I'm sorry, but yes, I agree.
Let them do a little work
Very true. I absolutely agree with you.
instead of rubber stamp agency response. And I mean, I know, I understand where they're coming from, but looking at most of these, it's like there's only a few that even have a response worth,
Yeah. Right.
If you compare, and I completely agree, but I want to say that I see a little, I don't know, I want to be more optimistic. I think that this budget actually had a lot more solid responses than maybe the previous years. And as we move along, we're really committed to making sure that we are contacting the agencies, that we're contacting the elected officials, that when they say things have been already funded and or that there is going to be some sort of capital improvement in this fiscal, well, in 24. Right now we're talking about fiscal year 25. We want to have the proper answers so that we can share with the community and let them know when these things are going to begin construction or when any kind of programming is going to start. So this is the start of this is how we have to start. The ultimate budget will be finalized in June of 2024. So between now and then, that's where additional work will be done.
Indeed, yes. And
Great.
the different committees are gonna have to apply pressure. Gonna have to divide and conquer.
And to dig and
Yeah.
to really, to get some more specifics on each one.
Right.
Fantastic. Great. Just looking.
Okay, well,
Robert tries to raise his hand again.
Just one question as I put in the chat. How many of these budget requests came from the committees of Community Board 11? Because I see individual names and I see no names. How many came from the committees themselves?
Good question. I know Health Committee did send one. I know that the Education Committee did send one. I'm not too aware of any other committee.
Parks did a couple, right?
Parks did do a couple, yes. Parks did some, there were many other ones.
Yeah.
Because all of these basically are supposed to come from the committees themselves. People are supposed to attend the committee meetings. When the chairs ask for budget requests, that's when the people say, well, we need more trash cans here. We need graffiti removal there. We need this road or that road repaved. And each committee is supposed to put it down as a budget request. That's the way it's worked in the past. I don't know how this board has worked in the past, but normally it goes through committees and then it's hashed out at the leadership committee as far as how many do you have, and each committee then, gives it to the budget chair at, say the leadership meeting where you put down the priority that you want and agree upon which one should be number one, number two, number three, etc. Okay,
Yep.
that's the way many budget chairs have done it from other boards and from other, areas.
I
I'm just
agree.
giving you a little advice.
No, I
But
agree.
you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, that is definitely the vision. Um, Serena, I know Serena and I did speak about maybe engaging this a lot earlier before the 2-month break, to ensure that that can happen. But with Bernadette, co-signing the, committees actually going into this budget and pulling stuff out and attacking it, I think that we can get that done for next year for sure.
Could I just say, respond to Bob? Bob, that is definitely one way and a main way of getting into the neighborhoods and getting information from the different committees. But just so that you know, a lot of requests actually were given to me through my civic association. So, and also from the crossing guards where in the schools and the different areas, the request for the crossing guards, etc. So requests come from many different areas, and then they basically will get to Community Board 11 and the request given to this committee. So I understand what you're saying, and that is a really great way to do it. And, we're always working on improving and reaching out more hands to to all of the neighborhoods in Community Board 11.
So Kay, thank you. And yes, Robert, that's the vision. That's the vision. That's what we've been aiming for. I know that this committee has proactively encouraged all committees to submit their budgetary item, but it's we're actually seeing some progress. Also, Kay, I'm reading the chat, and you saw something about the special ambulance for stroke victims. We're going to have that link available so that you don't have to worry about missing anything. Okay, so just know that it's on the agenda, as well as Malcolm had recently pointed out.
May I ask something as I'm looking through here? Can there be a request to ask when it says, and I'll go to priority to the code, 31 and 32, and it says the agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. That's definitely a question to ask a little bit more about what they mean. They'll accommodate. Are they, it's just, this is, it says priority 31, 32. It's on page 216. So that, I've never seen that one before. So we can assume what it means, but I think asking further about,
I don't see that one. But
Bernadette, each and every line item will be addressed per
Oh.
agency response.
31.
yeah, 31, 32.
interesting. I wasn't go that far. I don't know why. 30.
I've never,
Oh,
I've
okay, I
never
see
seen
it.
that one.
I see it. I see it now.
Yeah, there we go.
And what does it say?
Agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. So,
Okay.
it's
Serena, what do you think about this one?
Yes, that one stuck out to me as well, just like the plaza that we requested. It was the same response, that the agency will try to accommodate within their resources. That to me means that there isn't additional funding to allocate to this specific request, but they will do their best within the funding that they have to answer our request. That is how I'm reading that. And so just to just repeat what I said before, each and every agency response, each and every request will be directed to the agencies for a full detail of what it is that they mean, so that there is no guessing at all.
Agreed. Okay.
we don't want guessing. Definitely don't want guessing.
Very true. Okay. So yeah, so I guess we'll at the leadership meeting, Sharina and I will make the push for all of the chairs to go through this. And possibly at our next community development meeting that they come to us with items that they really want to push so we can get done, before June comes around. But yeah, just
Way
understand.
before June. Yes, absolutely.
Because understand like this took two all-nighters to both of us. Yeah.
It took months. The all-nighters was just the implementing of into the system. But yes, it's a lengthy process, and we're here and we're happy to do it. And so we're at the next leadership meeting, even prior, we'll communicate with the full board as we have, and start to see it happen the way that it's supposed to happen, where each committee determines what's important via priority 1, 2, 3, the whole board, and so I'm optimistic that it's going to ultimately be in the end what it was always meant to be. So
Great. All right. Any other questions, concerns?
Diana has a question on item 16 and the response to it. Is it a capital item or is it an expense item, Diana?
It's a capital one. It's about the Pelham Parkway Greenway being repaved. And it's assigned to the Department of Transportation. But the Pelham Parkway Greenway is under the Parks Department, not the Department of Transportation. And it is being funded. Although it's going to take until October 2025 for them to complete the design.
Right.
They're doing the whole design for the Pelham Parkway Greenway.
So certain asks, right, that were asked during fiscal year 24 or fiscal year like 23, 24 that have carried over because we didn't get any responses,
Okay. Right.
have been either approved, and then we find out after the fact. So that's something that can happen and has happened, just like the park. The park's name escapes me right now, but Ms. Wilcox.
Right, Zimmerman.
Right, right.
Zimmerman.
So just like that, right? And then we find out, but it was on our budget. So those kinds of things do happen. And then I just want to remind everyone that we're moving forward with a new program, a new software to try to avoid any types of glitches. If you review the budget from last year and compare it now, there were things that say were intended for transportation that went to the Department of Education. Not something that obviously we know better, but because there were a lot of problems with the software and I can attest to this because right now we're going through a training with a new software that the DCP and the city had to do something, to try to alleviate these kinds of hiccups. And so I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, and it says contact the community board unit at OMB. What does that mean? For
Budget.
information.
Office of Management and Budget,
Right.
Mayor.
Mayor.
But I believe we already voted on this. So this specific item would be able to moot. Is it? You say
Moot.
Moot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's moot because the Parks Department is doing it already.
Exactly. And I know the board didn't want it to be widened. We just wanted it to be repaved. So I'd rather not rehash that.
Well, the
Also, just to
Parks
say-
Department will present the design in October 2025.
Right. So we'll just have to wait a year, pretty much.
Okay.
Any more questions? Concerns, suggestions? It's not. Serena, up to you.
I'm just very appreciative of everyone that came out tonight. I know that we're doing our very, very best to ensure that that the community is aware and learns, what this really means. It's been an arduous process, right? If for a lot of you that have followed us along the way, but we're gonna get there. And so I thank you. I thank you everyone for everyone's commitment, and we're gonna address each and every line item, and we will have answers. And so just know that you'll have this link, and then you can refer to as we go along to every line item and what our responses have been, so that everyone is comfortable with understanding what's going on along the way. So thank you very much. This concludes our public hearing for the preliminary budget of fiscal year 25. It is Wednesday again, February 28th, and it is 6:48 p.m. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.